maybe you can also kind of talk about how you were at Art Center. What kind of student were you? Were you like the slacker, let's go play party, I want to work 20 hours a week, or am I going to be hitting my books nonstop and kick everyone else's ass and blow everybody out of the water with my awesome design?
I'll tell you what kind of student I am. I am a hard-working person. I would probably have at least one all-nighter a week, every single week, and more, sometimes 2 or 3. And when I say all-nighter, I don't mean like literally like I never slept, but maybe an hour here, 2 hours there. I slept on the table at the school. I was pretty gnarly, right? And I always wondered like how people can get through school without spending all night. Because like, when do I stop? I don't know when to stop. I'm just going to keep making more. And yes, then that gets into the overachiever, because I don't want to be the third best. I don't want to be the second best student. I want to be the best student. And if there was a way to emphatically to measure that, I would have gone for whatever metric that was. And for me, it was scholarship review. Every time you submitted your portfolio for a scholarship review, they would give you a score out of a possible 100. So I would go around as a total jerk, like, hey, did you submit? What score did you get? Oh, okay, cool. What'd you get? Oh, right, okay, cool. That's how I knew. And then Kevin came along, and then he beat me, and I was like, oh my God, this is embarrassing. What's going on with me, right? So yes, I was an overachiever for sure, because I wanted to squeeze out every last drop of knowledge from my instructors. So I was the kid who was sitting in the front. I was the kid who was leaning in during the lectures and critiques of other people's work. I was the kid taking notes. I was the kid doing tracings and drawings over and over again, going to workshops that I had nothing to do with. I was the person who also took the classes that were the hardest, most difficult, that wasn't even relevant to my major. I took drawing classes with the product designers. I took film classes with the film students. And I was terrible at it, so my grades were not good. There's no relationship between what you learn and the grades that you get in school. I'm going to tell you that right now. Sometimes they look like they're the same, but they're not. So mercifully, my math instructor did not fail me. He gave me a D so I don't have to take it again. Probably because he's thinking, don't torture me, I won't torture you, you won't have to repeat the class, we're all good. He was very generous, Bruce Hubbard, he let me go. Thank God. A couple other classes I didn't do so well. I didn't care about the grades. I was pretty organized. Not as organized as I am today, but I was pretty organized. Now I want to tell you that the 19-year-old student and the 18-year-old boy, 2 totally different human beings. It was a big transition there, a giant one. So as an 18-year-old, I waited till Sunday night to do the homework, last possible minute. I watched late night TV till it stopped airing, basically. Procrastinated, was too busy trying to have a relationship with my girlfriend. Just hanging out, just doing whatever I could do not to do the work itself. But I came to some realization that this is not the life I want to have, and if I want to have this other life, I needed to put this life away and adopt a new attitude. So during this part, I was probably like the Terminator, like part 2. Like when they close the cell door on him and he just walks through it. That would be me. It's like, get out of here. Back then at Art Center, they didn't let you stay there all night. So I just went into the room that I think they wouldn't check and either slept there and got back up. And if they knocked on the door, I'd get up and move to another room. That was me. But I'm a weirdo. I know that. My friends back then used to laugh at me. They used to make fun of me. Like, Doe, what are you doing in the library? What are you doing in the computer lab? What are you doing? Why are you learning this stuff? Nobody's going to want to do 3D. Why are you taking that film class? They're not laughing so much anymore. Next question. That was Jung. Jung asked me what kind of student I was, but he had 2 questions.
Let's go back to take away the myth also. Let's kind of unveil you, okay? You went to Art Center. Well, you went to Art Center. So I think the idea is that when you hear about students going to Art Center, oh, they must be rich. They have a lot of money so they can afford to go to the Art Center, And so tell us, is that true?
No, it's not true. Now there are, sadly, more and more students. This is not sad. I don't begrudge somebody because they come from a family with money. They're luckier. Tuition is so high these days that it becomes a thing where if you're barely scratching it, if you're living on government-assisted programs, you're not going to be thinking about a school that's going to cost you $22,000 a semester to go to, because you're going to be $170,000, $180,000 in debt by the time you're done with school. Now for me, I'm not going to tell you I was poor. We're not poor. We're upper middle class. But the idea of going to a private art school with zero assistance was a pretty big stretch. My mom said that she would pay for half my tuition. The other tuition would have to come from Stafford loans, student loans. I didn't qualify for any grants. And the rest I'd have to figure out on a scholarship if I could get one. So I basically lived on what my mom gave me, which was never enough, and credit cards. I got credit cards, and by the time I got to school, all my cards were maxed out. I was paying the minimal amount of payment. You know, like $40 you send in when you own 5,000. And back then that was a ton of money. That's how I lived. I worked in the computer lab, and that was aligned with my goals because I wanted a little bit more access to the computers. I got to help people, and I made some money. But it still kept me on campus, so I wasn't too far away from what it is I wanted to do. Every once in a while I would do a freelance job for a friend of mine who was a photographer or something. He'd need a brochure or a business card. I would do it for a few $100. That's it. When I got to school, I was in debt. I had credit card bills to the max, but I worked hard, and I worked really hard, and I was able to pay down the credit card debt immediately, and within a year and a half or a year, paid off my entire student loan. Now, I was lucky, and I was hardworking and talented, because when I got into school, I was able to get a 50% scholarship. By the time I graduated school, I probably had most of my tuition paid for by the school, and I still did not have enough money to live. Because my mom, I think she wanted to keep me hungry, keep me sharp, never gave me enough money. To this day, my wife's like, why didn't you ask your mom? I was like, I don't know, I thought she just gave me all the money she could give me. And I felt wrong. It's like, Mom, can you give me more money? Art supplies, books, they don't account for any of that stuff. And it's expensive. So I'm not some rich kid. Turns out my parents could have paid for the whole thing, but they just didn't want to. That's a whole nother story. Immigrant mentality, let me just tell you that. Okay, John, are we good with the mythology? You want me to reveal myself here? Yeah. Well, what else can I reveal to you that you don't think I'm doing right now? What assumptions do you have about me that I can either confirm or dispel right now?
I mean, when did you realize that 18 to 19 transition? What happened at that point that you realized you need to get off your butt and commit like when, and give us commitment. Like what is like how? Yeah, you were at the school and all that. Like
before I got to school.
Yeah.
Well, I won't go into the horrible, juicy details because there's already a video out on that. That's why I make these videos, so I don't have to repeat myself. But I will tell you, I was going through a really tough time in my life and a horrible relationship with my girlfriend. And it was straining my relationship with my brother, who I lived with, and my parents, thinking I'm a total loser because I didn't take school seriously. I was squandering an opportunity. And I fully admit that I was very immature, lazy, and unfocused. And I just decided that at that moment in time, for me, I was gonna have to do this on my own. You know how like when you're an emotional teenager, some of you guys are still kind of around that age-ish? You remember those feelings where the world is like live or die, the best day of your life, the worst day of your life, and it was just about pizza? You know those emotional highs? You guys know what I'm talking about. Some of you guys still are like that. And in that one moment, in that teenage brain of mine, I was thinking, this is it. I'm gonna die, I'm gonna be a total loser, and this is my life. And I got to that really like low point. And you just have to make a decision. Are you okay being that loser? And you're a total, and this is the conversation I'm having with myself. You're a freaking total loser. Everybody helped you, and you did nothing, and you're just like a big freaking crybaby. Is that how you want to live? Next morning I woke up, I'm like, I'm done. I'm gonna change my life. This is it for me. I'm gonna do everything I can because I want to prove them wrong. I want to prove to everybody they got the wrong person. I'm this other person. And I made that mental determination, no matter what it took, no matter how long it took, I would get myself to Art Center, I would get into school, I would work a semester or two and then go to school. It might take me 10 years to get through that freaking program, but I was self-determined at that point. Sometimes it does take a very low point, as they say, it's darkest before dawn, before you shoot out the other side. That's why sometimes I think people who grow up who have lots of stuff, they're very soft, you know? They have money, anything can happen, their parents have connections, there's no drive, so they're very soft. So my friend who was the brother in rich family, you know, Taiwanese family, very wealthy, he was soft. He went to sleep. He didn't go to school. I hope he's super successful today, but I don't know what happened to him. He ultimately disappeared. So all you poor people, you got something. You got to make it work for you, though. That you have no plan B. There is no option. You have to make it, and you have to do it your way. Nobody's going to help you. No assistants, no open doors, no cousins, no uncles, nobody. Nobody's going to help you. You got to help yourself.